Good morning, it's your boy Calabasas Jones on episode 12 of the Calabasas Flex. And as you saw in the title, this episode is top 10 Marvel films. I saw Doctor Strange. You can check out the review that I did. And it got me thinking, like, where does this movie rank in the top Marvel films? And what are my personal favorite top Marvel films? That's what this video is about. Doctor Strange is not in the top 10, by the way. Doctor Strange 2 isn't. It's actually number 15 of all the Marvel films. But yeah, let's jump right into it. Number 10. Thor 2011, director Kenneth Branagh. Thor is an underrated film, man. It was good. I was house sitting for someone a few years ago and I watched it 3 nights in a row. And that's when I realized, I'd already seen it by that point, but that's when I realized, man, this movie is actually pretty good. It's just got classic moments. You've got Loki with the cask of infinite winners or whatever it's called. The fight versus the destroyer armor. Classic moments. Thor was still Shakespearean back then, so, you know, they eventually lightened his character up. But it's a great movie, great visual effects, and definitely worth a rewatch. It's number 10. Okay, number 9, Spider-Man Homecoming 2017, John Watts. Now, there's really no argument needed for why Spider-Man Homecoming is at number 9 in this list. It's a classic film. It brought Spider-Man into the MCU with such like creativity, high entertainment value. The movie had great action as well. The fight versus the Vulture on the ship, you know, the introduction of instant kill mode, all these different things. You know, Zendaya was getting down, great actress in that film. Yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming was it was a really good movie. There's no reason to like argue like why it should be number 9. Definitely an easy entry on this list. Now, number 8. Okay, we're kind of getting into heavy hitters with this one. Thor Ragnarok 2017, Taika Waititi. Yeah, man. For a long time, Thor was actually in my top 5. And in fact, I still thought it was. I made like this giant list. I made it on my wall actually, with sheets of paper. And by physically doing it, I realized, oh, Thor is not really in my top 5. But I mean, man, this is one of the best Marvel movies for a long time. Despite my Doctor Strange review, how I said this movie also broke the trailer game because it also maybe has one of the worst trailers of all time because it revealed the Hulk. But putting that aside, the movie itself, legendary. I mean, like, the fights were good. It turned Thor into a comedian. Like, it was, man, yeah, just a great film. The whole reveal in Infinity War when Thor uses the Bifrost to appear on the battlefield, all that was made possible because of Thor Ragnarok. Like, it made him a likable character. Thor 1 was good, like I just said, but he was still Shakespearean back then. Thor Ragnarok made him relatable and likable, and when he showed up on that battlefield, which was, I mean, one of the moments of the film, it had so much weight because you liked Thor. And that was all, you know, just tracing back to Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, that was a really great film. Easy entry for number 8 on this list. Now moving on to number 7, Iron Man 2008, Jon Favreau. What do I need to say about this film that hasn't already been said? Not only is it an MCU classic, it started the MCU, it's a cinema classic. This movie was just too advanced, was the whole thing about it. The emotion, the characters, the Iron Man suit itself, we had never seen nothing like that. It was like forming up. Robert Downey Jr.'s acting, like, what? I can literally remember who I was with and like what theater I was at, where I was when I saw Iron Man, you know, for the first time in 2008. It's just a classic. And go back and watch it to this day. It holds up. It's a great film. Yeah, easy entry for number 7. Number 6, Captain America Civil War 2016, Anthony and Joe Russo. Yeah, you know, we were on like a little bit of a Marvel diet when this movie came out. You know, Avengers 2 had come out previously. And, you know, no one really knew what was going to happen. Like, Infinity War was still a couple years off. We didn't even really know that. So this movie satisfied that thirst for having all those characters in one film. And it did it with gusto. Yeah, Civil War, again, it just showed Marvel putting all these different characters into any given film, and it just worked. It was just a great movie. I mean, you know, you have the airport scene, you got Spider-Man, oh, you have a metal arm. The fight between Captain America and Tony at the end. Yeah, Civil War, obviously it changed the landscape of the MCU going forward. A lot of pivotal events. But it was just an awesome movie. I mean, the fight scenes were great. Yeah, it's almost crazy that it's a Captain America film. It's Captain America 3. But it's just, yeah, it had freaking Ant-Man turning into Giant Man. Like, yeah, man. There's not much you can say that's really wrong with Civil War. Definitely a great film, and leads us off into our top 5. So number 5. So now we're getting to the real heavy hitters. Captain America, The Winter Soldier, 2014, the Russo brothers. Okay. Captain America, Winter Soldier is where I realized personally Marvel's serious. Like, you know, we had Avengers 2, I think, had come up by that point. Iron Man, obviously Iron Man 2. These are all enjoyable films. They were good films. Great visual effects, great action. But when this movie came out, I was like, oh, okay, Marvel A is serious, and B, they're here to stay. It was less kiddie, you know, a little kind of that muted color palette to the film. It took things to the next level. It really did. And on top of that, it was just a great movie. The action was solid. Again, like, aside from Captain America 1, which I think it was like number 20 on my list of like top Marvel films. The Captain America movies hold major weight, like Civil War and Winter Soldier. Those are 2 of the best Marvel films, just on their own. Yeah, the opening fight scene with the Frenchman. I mean, Captain America obviously would one-shot that dude, but you know, we'll let it slide. Just moment after moment. It introduced Falcon. Yeah. Just a top-tier film, and a great entry for the Russo brothers into the Marvel Universe. We had no clue how pivotal they would become, but this was just the beginning. And yeah, for a while, this was one of my top films right outside the Avengers films. No, actually, it still is. Yeah, aside from any Avengers film, it's got to be Winter Soldier. Maybe one of my favorite movies of all time, like top 20, but definitely a great lead off into the top 5. So number 4, The Avengers, 2012, Joss Whedon. This is the movie that no one believed could be done, but then they did it. They weaved all these different storylines together over years, different characters, an ensemble cast. Like, when did that really actually work in cinema? So no one knew it was going to happen. I mean, I like Marvel. I've been reading comics since I was a child, so I was just excited to see it just in general. But as far as working as a movie, who knows? You know, you just got to go and see. It definitely worked. The payoff for this, which had led up since Iron Man, 4 years in the making at this point, I almost don't know if they could have done a better job. It brought all the characters together. It had the emotional weight. It was hilarious. Go back and watch it to this day. The movie's just funny. Yeah, you had Loki finally coming out. Like, man, top tier action. This is just, it's a solid film. And I mean, you had great moments like the Hulk on the helicarrier. He's gonna bring this whole thing down. You know, Thor versus Captain America versus Iron Man in the forest. I don't even have to mention the Battle of New York. The list goes on and on. This is like, yeah. Oh, when they came back to Tony's skyscraper and he had like the new armor, like takeoff method. Come on, man. Avengers, yeah. It definitely, this was before Winter Soldier as well. So, you know, I should have known at this point, like, Marvel's serious, but when Winter Soldier came out, I was like, oh, okay, this is for real. But yeah, Avengers, it was the movie that no one believed could happen, but it did happen. And it's one of the best Marvel films still to this day. Okay, top 3. These are the knockout punches. These are like the true films. You could probably guess what's coming, but one of them is going to be a surprise. Number 3, used to be number 2, Avengers Infinity War 2018, the Russo brothers. I mean, come on. So this is wrapping up the Infinity Saga, and we've seen 2 Avengers movies at this point, one of which was really good. But like, we know that Marvel can put these characters together. But what we didn't know was that, you know, a movie could have you almost in like tears, summon like feelings of anger, like real emotion from some superheroes. And that's what this movie truly did. And it was just, yeah, it was awesome. Infinity War, man, you could just tell they put all the ingredients into the bowl, like, to cook this up. The cinematography was amazing. The action, come on, man. The emotional moments, the comedy, it was all there. This was prime. Infinity War was like prime Marvel. It really was. It was only a few years ago, but it's like, it just kept getting better up to this point. And even Infinity War was like better than everything that come before it. Like, just crazy. You know, and it has one of the best moments in the MCU. Maybe like in kind of film, action film, when Thor, as I mentioned before, appears onto the battlefield with the Bifrost. Like, man, you want to talk about screaming in the theater? That was one of those moments. It was like, who wrote that? Like, how did that? Just insane stuff. And Infinity War, I mean, yeah, all the moments were just, it was crazy. It made Thanos like this pop culture icon, you know, at the time. Yeah, I can go on and on. And not to mention the legitimate, and I mean real anger I felt, maybe a lot of us felt, when the characters got dusted at the end. First of all, who expected that? Like, Thor had him on the ropes. He had freaking Stormbreaker. Overcame all 6 Infinity Stones. Like, okay, Thanos, you thought you won. Guess what? You didn't. Hits him in the chest. Aim for the head. You know, classic moments like that. And, you know, Thanos hits the snap. And I remember, this movie was like 3 hours long. And you're sitting there in the theater and all of a sudden, like, Spider-Man disappears. Doctor Strange, you know, blah, blah, blah. Just, yeah, anger-inducing. I remember that feeling. But, you know, I guess that shows that they could do that. So yeah, Infinity War, easy entry for number 3. It used to be number 2, but, you know, it got moved down. Number 2, used to be my top Marvel film of all time, really with no equal, Avengers Endgame. What are you gonna say about Endgame? What are you gonna say? It was the best Marvel movie because it was supposed to be. The biggest budget, I'm sure, had all the characters in there. Yeah, in that battle scene, a lot of the actors said they had never even, you know, seen each other on set before that day, but all of them were there on that day. Crazy. Excuse me. Endgame does have plot holes that you can drive like a semi-truck through, but I'm not gonna get on that right now. What I'm gonna get on is just how great of a movie it is. It had the opening scene where they go hunt down Thanos. Oh no, excuse me, the opening scene with Tony Stark in the spaceship with Nebulon just like posted up chilling, playing freaking, you know, finger football, whatever that game is called. And you know, Captain Marvel in full Jesus form comes and saves them from space and brings them back. Probably the best acting in the film up there in the MCU when Tony's like super skinny and starts going off on everybody. Man, these are great moments. Yeah, the 5 years later. Oh, I know you remember how you felt when that title came up 5 years later. You were like, oh, like, they're actually in trouble. Like, this had real consequences. It showed that Ant-Man's like a pivotal character. Tony solved time travel. The list goes on and on. Endgame was the best Marvel film because it was supposed to be. The final battle, I mean, come on. Like I said, I don't even really get into all that. We know what that's about. But yeah, man, and the ending. I really want to talk about this because I mentioned in my Doctor Strange video. I wasn't just trying not to tear up like many of us were. Like, I was in that theater trying not to, like, be straight up like bawling like a child. Real crying. Like, I was like choked, like holding it back because I wasn't like, oh, this is sad. No. No, I mean like, like something had happened when Tony, you know, died. Yeah, man. And I mean, on your left, bro. Anyways, yeah, Endgame, all time. It might be one of my favorite films of all time, possibly, but easily it was the best Marvel film for years, and rightfully so. It's just, it's a like all-time movie, but it's number 2 because number 1, it eventually got bumped down by what is actually the best Marvel film, Spider-Man: No Way Home, 2021, John Watts. Spider-Man: No Way Home is the best Marvel film. Sorry, it just is. Endgame, it's a classic, and it's number 2 until something else happens. But Spider-Man: No Way Home, they did it all correctly. It didn't have any plot holes, unlike, you know, Endgame, with some severe plot holes. Let's just say that. I'm not even gonna really get into it because it's still a great movie, but it has some real issues. Spider-Man No Way Home, I mean, come on. It's got Spider-Man versus Doctor Strange, which is like the crisis of Spider-Man's life. But for Doctor Strange, it's like a minor annoyance. If even that, like, you know, so okay, I'll take care of this. They brought back freaking Edward Molina as Doc Ock. Bro, when he was on that highway and those tentacles were like, you know, just shaking the whole environment, you realize, oh, Dr. Octopus is someone you need to be like nervous around. Which the Spider-Man video game made clear, but for people who haven't played it, you know, Doc Ock isn't just some like Sunday afternoon villain. Like, this man's for real. And he would have killed Peter if he didn't have the nano suit. I mean, this isn't a game. Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin, bro. Just all time, I mean, maybe like the second best overall villain performance behind Heath Ledger's Joker. I actually still to this day haven't seen the 1989 Batman, but I hear that Jack Nicholson's performance is all time. I need to watch that film. But yeah, that Green Goblin by Willem Dafoe, yeah, timeless. They brought him back. Yeah, man, I mean, they brought back all the Spider-Men. They pulled it off. They actually did it. And it was legit. It wasn't even whack. Like, yeah, man, these are moments they like dug up from all our childhood and just represented and were like, yo, this is, you know, this is gonna be good. And it was. Daredevil catching the brick. They brought Daredevil from freaking Netflix? Bro. I can go on and on. Yeah, No Way Home, the visual effects, pretty much flawless. The action, I mean, Spider-Man versus the Green Goblin. Yo, Spider-Man versus Doctor Strange. It was, yeah, it had the comedy. It was all there and it was legit. Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing too bad you can say about Spider-Man No Way Home. It pulled it all together. It worked. And, you know, I liked it. It was a great film. The best actor in that film was actually, was Jamie Foxx. But I mean, is that a surprise to anyone? Come on. So that was really good. But if it wasn't him, if it wasn't for Jamie Foxx, then it would have been Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield is just a natural, he was just a natural actor. He's got the ability, the talent, the screen presence, the comedy. He would have been the best actor if it wasn't for Jamie Foxx. So that was good. Yeah, until something else happens. Until down the line, whatever. Spider-Man No Way Home is the #1 Marvel film. And that's it. Now you know my top 10 Marvel films. I'm excited for Thor. That's July 8th, so definitely stoked for that. Be able to look out for that review. And going over this list, and as I also mentioned in the Doctor Strange video, the one thing Marvel hopefully they can do is bring back the Avengers momentum, because Kevin Feige has said that you know, there will be no more Avengers films. I truly, truly hope that is not true, because man, that's just what made these films come together. That's what set them apart from any other franchise. That's what made, you know, us excited to go see them for years on end, is that they all wove together and it was moving towards something. So to take that out, I don't know, really wouldn't make much sense. I said in the previous video, if you become successful and forget what it took to get you there, you're gonna be in trouble. So yeah, I'll say that again. If you become successful and forget what it took to get you there, you're gonna be in trouble. So hopefully they can bring back the Avengers momentum, because man, that's what made those films what they were. As always, eat less beef, you know, for the climate. Remember that. Like, subscribe, stay powerful, and keep flexing.